Good evening, precious viewers. It's good to have you on another wonderful episode of Ask the Counsellors. We are always glad that you join us every week with your family, your spouse, your loved ones, and your friends on Ask the Counsellors as we help you with answers and as we help you to meander and find your way through the troubled waters of marriage. Your marriage can be better and can be sweeter and can be a good marriage if you have the right keys to make it work. And here on Ask the Counsellors, it's our goal and purpose to make sure that you have the keys to make your marriage work, just as the counselors in the house are enjoying so many years of marriage. Last week, we started the topic of in-laws, and we couldn't even go through half of the questions we had. And tonight, we plan to finish the topic of in-laws. Many people have questions. Many people have a lot of issues with their in-laws. And here we want to give you the keys to unlock that door to have a good relationship with in-laws and know how to relate with them and to deal with them. Here in the studio this evening, they are no longer guests to us, but for the sake of those who are watching us for the first time, I'd want to introduce them. We have here with us this evening Bishop Charles Agyinasare and Reverend Mrs. Vienna Agyinasare, who have been married for 35 years and have been contributing immensely and helping us through. We also have here with us Reverend Mike Ankuma, who has been married for 36 years and has 2 kids who are grown and doing very, very well. We have also with us Reverend Cecilia Ajo Dickens, who has been married for 34 years, has raised 3 wonderful kids who are also doing very, very well. And they are senior pastors here at the Perez Dome. At this time, we want to invite somebody, if you know a married couple. There's no place to turn into on a Wednesday except on Ask the Counsellors. I promise you would enjoy this program. So you want to invite somebody, a friend, a beloved, a loved one, a spouse, a friend friends who are married, to tune in, and there is something that they will learn that would help them and transform their marriage. If you have questions as the show progresses, you can send your questions to us on questions, questions, at Agyinasare, AGYINASARE.org. If you are used to emails, you can send it to us there. And if you are watching us via Facebook, you can just type your question on the Facebook thread. We keep having questions via Facebook, so you can just type your question in, and then we'll pull those questions, and then we'll put it to the counselors. If you are used to text messaging or to WhatsApping, you can send us a WhatsApp to this number, 020-343-8710. I repeat, 020-343-8710. We keep having questions from Sierra Leone, from Liberia, from Cameroon, from Nigeria, from Congo, from the UK, US, Jamaica, and what have you. And so if you are watching from outside Ghana and you have a question, you want to send it to the country code, which is +233 or 00233 20343 8710. We would love to hear your questions, and we would love to have questions from you wherever you are watching us from. We keep receiving so many comments from you about how you are being blessed by Ask the Counsellors. So we would love to hear from you and to hear how Ask the Counsellors is transforming your marriage and is transforming your home as well. We want to go straight into our topic for today. Last week there was something the panelists said which struck a chord, which was quite very important, which was pivotal in dealing with in-laws. And Bishop said that it is the man's responsibility to make sure that he draws the boundaries for the way his family relates to his wife, which was very, very, very important. And so I'm going to begin on that note, and I'm going to pose my first question to the counselors. If someone is watching and the person's husband has not really stood, you hear stories where the man's family, treats the woman anyhow, what should the person do? How should they go about it? How should they go about informing their husbands or prompting them that this is a job that you are supposed to do? How do they handle that?
That's why it's important that spouses watch this together. And then those who are not married yet and are preparing to get married also need to watch this. But if you are a woman and your husband has not done that, one of the best things to do is to let him watch this with you. Either live like we are doing, or after the meeting, you tell him you found something interesting, and then you play it and both of you watch it. Or normally women, you by all means, when you are blessing him, after blessing him, he shouldn't be the kind of man who just after, he just turns off and sleeps. So after blessing him, you talk. So when you talk, you can put it in. Your siblings, your mother, your father, the way they are handling me, the counselors said that if you could, the man is supposed to help the woman, protect her from these things. And I'm sure that if you do it nicely, it will sink. And if you're a man and you are watching and you didn't do that from the beginning, so it might be looking difficult for you, still find a way to let your family know that, yes, I know that you people love me, but if you love me, then you will love my spouse and you will want my marriage to succeed. If you want my marriage to succeed, then don't interfere with my marriage. Otherwise, you create problems for the relationship. Yes.
I don't know if any of the panelists have anything to say. Okay. So my next question is, so how do you deal with an in-law who seems to have so much influence on your spouse and on the marriage? How do you deal with an in-law who seems to exert so much influence? Everything the in-law says, that's what either the man or the woman is going to do. And everything they say, that's how the marriage becomes. That's what happens in the marriage. How do you handle an in-law like that?
An in-law can only have that authority depending on the couple, because he will give instructions. How do you respond to it? So normally,
he gives suggestions.
He gives suggestions. So how do you respond? Normally, the problem is when one of the in-laws, either the man or the woman, is so attached to the mother or father, and therefore listens to her or him. So that's why the problem is. And so, just like Bishop said, the other party, the other partner can draw the attention. There's always a way of discussing pertinent issues in marriage. The morning, like say, after he's been blessed and things like that. That this is what is happening. I think that we must correct it. Say it in a way that is respectful and it will sink. There are times you can even bring an elderly person, somebody they all respect, in. Quite recently, I had a good friend, and they visited me, and they visited me. And something was going on the way he was treating the wife. And the wife said, as for this one, Pastor, I will say it. And this is what my husband is. In fact, I've even seen that that problem. And I've called the man and said, the way you treat your wife, I don't think it's right. And so when they visited, he said it, and while they were there, we talked about it. The next time I visited, the man said, "Oh, we are trying. We are we are doing our best. The advice to give." So there's always a way to find out, to draw your husband's attention that these things are not right. Let's correct it.
I think that it is at times easier said than done, because there are some husbands, they even find it difficult to talk with their mothers about such things. The way they have been raised, the way they were treated from their childhood, they find it difficult to sit with their parents to discuss such pertinent issues. How to even go. They don't have the boldness. They don't even have the courage, the strength to even approach their mother or their father to say that what you do to my marriage is not good. So this is where, when you are courting, you should be able to address. A lot of us don't tackle in-law problems when we are courting. A lot of us. I decided that when we started this, to look into various books. A lot of the authors don't even have a lot of things on in-laws. You get it? So we when we are doing counseling, it's sketchy. But there are some young men who are able to draw the line. If you are not able to draw the line, get somebody involved, because your woman or your husband is suffering. They are becoming emotionally derailed, sentimental. So get somebody to do the talking for you. It is very necessary you break away from that tie. It doesn't mean that you are doing away with your parents, but cut off some ties, draw the boundaries. Like Bishop spoke about, when before he got married, he sat his family down and told them that if you hurt me, if you hurt my wife, you are hurting me. So from the onset, they know that these are some areas, boundaries, some areas you don't need to go.
These issues are very delicate issues. So if I want to talk to the men. You know, there are some men who are so bonded, they've bonded with their mother in such a way that it's difficult to just part with their moms. So I'm just thinking about how somebody you've stayed with for about 26 years, 27 years, and you are just married, and you are going to tell your mom, I'm married, so don't come close to my marriage. You know,
you are not saying, okay, finish.
You have to think about it. Find a way of talking to your mom to be able to understand that, hey, you just married and you are putting me away. Some women
some
can.
Rivalry
Yeah. Some women can be very sensitive to the extent that that woman might not come close to you again.
Yes.
So it's a very delicate issue, and it will take prayer and tact to be able to handle your mom, especially if the mom is a single mom. She raised you single-handedly, or she is a widow and she doesn't have anybody to look up to. She only looks up to you. So if you are a man like that, you have to know how to gradually detach yourself from your mom. You can talk to her, oh mom, right now I'm growing, I need to bond with my wife as well. Doesn't mean that we are cutting off, but once a while I'll be calling, I'll be visiting you, and you should be able to do that for your mom so that there will not be that rivalry.
Yes.
Yes, you see, it's you are not cutting off from your mom. You are only saying that, Mom, I love you. I love you as a mother. I love my wife as a wife. And so my relationship with you is intact. However, if you would interfere with our relationship, you see, it won't help us. And you want our marriage to work. So, Mom, give us space when it comes to our marriage. Not your mom visiting you or talking to you because she's your mom. She's the mom of but there should be that line. You see, at times it may be harsh, but there are some sicknesses that the only way, but traditionally, we say that utu jato. You see, jato is an incurable sore. Like normally, I think it used to be cancer. Those days, the only way they treated it was with hot water. Utu jato is it's very painful. And then when it happens, in those days you hurt yourself, they put iodine in it. Iodine is very painful, but it helps. So there are times some of these things, it's painful, but you have to say it. And when you say it, you are saying it to your mother, and you still love her, and you still treat her well, whatever she needs, you still provide, etc. But if you don't get that space for your marriage, you are in trouble.
There are times I also think that there are times you take the issue as it comes. There are some mothers who may not even create that problem, and so she's aware of these things. And so if immediately you marry and then you go and call her and then try to, it may put her off. It may. So there are some cases. I mean, like in my own, my mother was late. Her mother was late. We have our fathers who are alive, and I had a lot of brothers and sisters who used to visit. I didn't really sit people down, but as they come, and I look at their attitude, anytime I see that something is not done right, then I correct it. This thing, you can't do it. And the way the way they saw me and my wife relating, never argue, never talk, never, and that kind of, there are things they find it difficult to do. There are things they find it difficult to do because of the way I relate with them. So there are times you may not actually sit people down and give them boundaries, but you can wait after marriage. As the situation comes, your mother comes, it's not creating a problem, it's not giving you space, that kind of thing. You say, hey, perhaps if I don't say it, he will no. Wait. If something happens, the first thing that happens, if I allow this thing to go, mommy will continue to do this. So the first thing that happens, like, then while your wife is not there, it's, mommy, I think the other day, this thing happened. I think that I love you. I love my wife. So this one day, I beg, give us a little space. I'm sure.
Some mothers will ask you about you when were you born and what do you know about marriage? And it kind of even kills the film with which you even want to say.
No, but you see, you are not saying it disrespectfully. Yeah. But you see, if you don't also say it, if you don't also say it, you have problems. There are times we like I was saying the other week, my biological mom visited us. Okay. Then my wife cooked, and then she complained that it wasn't peppery enough for her. So I said, Mama, I'll let my wife cook for you again. I'll give you the money. She can go and buy the things for you, or you buy them. And then the kitchen is there, so that you don't have this challenge with her. Because if you keep having that challenge, it will affect my marriage. Or, I mean, if your mother is complaining about your wife's food, it means that she's not even sure they are feeding you well.
Yes, some say it.
So she's not even sure. So it's psychological. And immediately your wife will begin to feel that your mother doesn't even trust her. So you don't want to allow that. So you say it nicely. I mean, I said, yes, I'll make the provision, but so that you won't have in-law trouble with my spouse. Mama, this one, it cannot be done. You know, I've had some of my brothers come to live with me after we got married. And, you know, nicely, I would tell them, you know, because there are times siblings, it didn't happen in my case, but there are times siblings, when they live with you, at times they think that that's my brother's house. So I can control the wife. So if you don't give the demarcations, you hurt your marriage. You know, it can be very unpleasant, but there are some unpleasant medications you have to take. Yes.
So, on that note, if you are on the other side, now we are talking about the man or the woman speaking with their parents. If you're on the other side, from the beginning, how do you start the relationship with your in-laws? Say that you have a very peaceable relationship, not one with so much conflict. How do you...
That means if you are an in-law,
Yes,
let's
so
say
if
you're
you're
a mother or father-in-laws or...
No, so if am I to... so my wife, how does my wife begin to relate with my parents? Or if it's a woman watching, how does the husband begin to relate, with the in-laws from the beginning to make sure that there's a peaceable, relationship, a very amicable? How should they, when the first time they get to the house, how should they carry themselves? How should they treat their in-laws and all that to make sure that, they don't even get to the point where conflicts begin, where, you have put the in-law in a good place where the in-law knows that, this is a very good.
If you are a daughter-in-law, maybe you are married to a man, you are a lady. First impression counts. First day you go, I think, that's what I think. You should impress your in-law.
That is during the courtship.
Yes.
During the courtship.
Yes.
Before even the wedding. Your dressing will count. Some in-laws can be very fussy. They'll look at your dressing, the way you dress, your hair, your everything. When you come to the house, the way you sit is also an issue to some in-laws. Whether you sit well, they will be watching. How did she sit? Did she cross her legs? How did she behave? When she came to the house, how did she talk? These things are some in-laws will observe all these things. And so first...
Are you saying you observe all these things?
I didn't care anyway. Because I have a daughter, so I don't know. So the seed I sow, I'm going to reap it. So some in-laws can be very, very detailed and they want to see all these things. So when you are during courting, you have to behave well. Not pretend, but you have to behave well, the way you talk, the way you talk to your mother or your father-in-law, or maybe your husband-to-be. They will be watching whether this lady, when she comes to the house, she won't give us problems. So I think that first impressions counts a lot.
I also think that during the courtship, you must study or know a bit about the culture and the customs and the home culture. Every house have their culture. And so you must have a little understanding of how their culture is, how the family behaves, so that you will know how to fit in. Because if you don't understand, you would offend. If you don't understand, you would offend. Now, for us as preachers, when you even go into a church to preach, it's the same thing. You study the atmosphere before you start preaching, so that you know, because there are some nuances you don't want to exhibit in certain places. So if you are courting, you must study the culture and the basic customs of the people. Understand, in this home that I'm going, what are the things that matter to them? And you can easily know the things that matter to them by talking to your spouse. So when you talk to your spouse will let you understand some of the things that are important, so that you won't begin to offend your in-laws when you go in.
I agree so much with Bishop, because there are some homes, there is the autocracy of the dad is there. Not every father would want to even see the woman or the man you are bringing to the house until the appropriate time. You psych him to know that I am bringing somebody to the house to introduce the person to you. But in some other homes, everybody that comes is most welcome. Everybody that comes, until the time that you would say that this is the guy or the lady I want. So I remember when my son saw the woman he's married to, and I know that the lady is not of this nationality, but the way he made the relationship stronger before even introducing her to us. They were bonded before introducing, and it was a difficult time. But studying the lady, my husband would say, I think your son went for someone like you. She's not that open. She is a little closed, and I am also a little closed. I look very sanguine outside, but so my husband would say she's like you. So sons go for people that look like their mother or have some things like their mother, and the daughters also go for men like their father. So when I saw that she is a little reticent, I had to accommodate her. So like Mama also said, the impression, I saw a lady. When I saw a lady, I like ladies. So when I saw her, I said, oh, this is a lady because of the way she carried herself, because of the way she spoke, because of the way she talked. She's not the first lady that has come to the house. People have come as friends, but you could tell some were loud. Some were loud. You could hear a lady talk, and it's like, I remember a guy came looking for my daughter, and when we were talking, we were all standing together talking, we were chatting. Then my husband said, come. I said, Mommy feels so
what is the English translation?
The
man talks too loud. The house belongs to me. How come he's talking more than I am talking? I have to be asking him questions. So these things matter a lot to us. And I don't know how daughters-in-law also would want to see their mothers-in-law, because before they come in, it's like they have heard that this one is a strong woman, this woman or this man is a very strong woman. So people come trying to break that fence. So it's how you carry yourself and how the other party also come in is what matters.
Dorcas and my first girl, Dorcas and the husband did something initially when they were courting. They organized, brought the two of us, the two set of parents together in our home. We ate, chatted, and then we discussed where are you from, Dad. By the time was over, I think a lot of ice has broken down. And it appeared the two families knew each other so much, to some extent, that brought a certain kind of relationship to make us flow with them, and they flowing with us.
You see, the in-laws must also, the parents and siblings must also see the one coming in to marry their son or their daughter or their sister or brother. They must see that this one is a new entrant into the family, so we must welcome the person. We must make the person feel belonged. You see. Now, for the parents, what they must do is they must see this one as their child. If they put themselves in the shoes of that person, that if this was our child, how were we going to deal with? Or if we were this person, how would we expect to be dealt with? That also goes a long way to help break that in-law challenge.
I watched a program, I think about 15 years ago, or either TV3 or GTV. And there was this woman from the Chebi or Akimoda area who had 7 sons, and all sons were married. And they had to bring the family to the studio because they didn't understand how this mother fitted in all the 7 daughters-in-law. And from that time, I made up my mind that if I wanted to be any mother-in-law, I wanted to be like that woman. Not giving anybody, because you grow to know that parents-in-law are something else. They are monsters. Bishop will say they are monsters. But seeing that, I told myself that it is possible to be at peace, to rope in your in-laws as your own children. This is the mindset we have to have. Your in-laws are your children. And your mothers or your parents-in-law are your parents. So why do we enter or engage in rivalry? It is something that we have to renew our minds about.
If you're watching us, we are having an interesting discussion, but you may have questions. Your story may be different from what you are hearing from some of the counselors, and you may have questions as to how to go about it, or you are going through one situation and you want answers and help and wise counsel as to how to go about it. If you are watching via Facebook, you want to post it on the Facebook thread and we'll pick up that question. And then if you are watching via Precious Television, you can send us a WhatsApp message or text message to 020-343-8710. If you are watching from outside Ghana, we would love to also have your questions. The country code is +233 or 00233 20343 8710. Or if you are used to emails, you can send us an email to questions with an S, questions@ajinasare.org. We would love to hear your questions this evening. But you also you also hear situations where there are in-laws or parents-in-laws who want to deliberately break the marriage. Everything they are doing, you can just tell that they just want this marriage to just break apart. How do you handle in-laws like that? You are doing everything to impress them, you can't impress them, but everything that they are doing from their end, it looks like they just want to split the two of us apart. They are not happy that we are together. How do you handle such in-laws?
Sometimes I think that most of the cases are childless couples. When maybe an in-law is expecting a child just after the son or daughter marries, and the child is not forthcoming, then they will be tempted. Some mothers-in-law or fathers-in-law would be asking questions. When is the baby coming? When is the baby coming? And so, if you don't take care, they might even decide to frustrate the marriage, put something in the mind of the man, especially. It's always the man. Sometimes maybe the problem will be with the man, but the parent will be hammering it. I want a grandchild. I want a grandchild. And if it gets into the head of the son, then by the time the son realizes he is off, he'll be putting pressure on the wife, and if you don't take care, that brings about a break in the relationship. At times, that's what happens.
Some mothers also influence their daughters to come out of the marriage because probably the man is
stingy.
It's not stingy. Doesn't have a raise and a left.
Okay.
And some also will say that you are not pulling your weight. You don't have money. You don't have money. I wanted you to marry a rich person. Akwesi is there who wanted to marry you, and you went in for. I mean, if he's not pulling his weight, they talk to the mind of the lady. They influence her in such a way to come out. If she doesn't come out immediately, you see her flirting with the so-called rich person. In so doing, you are destroying the marriage of your daughter. But you don't know what will happen after a turn of events. The person that might not have money now, after some time, the doors will open, may come to church like Perez, and Bishop will pray a breakthrough prayer, and something great will come the way of the man. Then you will see that you didn't wait on the Lord. So such things, I mean, we are seated here trying to stop things like that. If they are married, leave them to marry. Let them go through the valleys and the hills themselves. They will settle.
All right. Ronald, what do you think?
Some of the problems where it comes like you are describing normally actually even start even before the marriage. There are times where you are going to a home, you realize that
you are not welcome.
You are not welcome. I mean, there are people who, their mothers or father will say, after this marriage, it won't work. Or I don't want to. And at times, the couples will love each other and that kind of thing, and they go in. My counsel about those things is that look at the fight and find out whether you can fight. Because there are some battles you realize that you don't have the freedom, the ribs to be able to fight. Because there are times, in some peculiar cases, the mother is even married, spiritually married to the daughter. And at times both. At times some can marry to the daughter, and spiritual marriage, it's both. Either to the son or the daughter. And therefore, right from the beginning, he has made you know that where you are coming, you are not welcome. And so, if you decide to go anyway, then be prepared to fight. Because these things, most of them, they are spiritual battles. Most of the cases where the people are meant to destroy the relationship, you realize that they are spiritual undertones. They are spiritual undertones. There's something spiritual about the whole thing. And there's more of prayer, believing God, breaking things and that. But somebody will be listening. You can avoid that. If you, I was preaching somewhere, and there was a relationship like that. And I said, if you can fight, you think that you can fight, fight. If you realize that where the thing is going, you can't fight, stop. When you finish, somebody came to solve it. Immediately you said that, and I decided to leave the thing. Today, the person has married another person, and the marriage is good.
Yes, but there are some who, also decide that I like this fight.
Yeah, fight to the end.
Because there are people that like challenges. I like challenges. There are people who like challenges. And so, yes, I love this lady. I love this man. The parents, they don't have any reason. They are not given any. You see, there are times if the parents are able to give, they might have sensible reasons why. But if it's just a subjective reason, maybe I don't like the tribe, maybe, things like that. I mean, and you are convinced that this is the one you want to marry, go for it. What you do is, if you know that the parents are, and you are going for it, then the two of you must make it such that you are not going to allow anything to break the relationship. You are determined to bond and to prove to everybody that was wishing you evil that you can make it. But hey, it's not all the time you have to run away from it.
All right. Is there a place for seeking counsel or asking somebody to intervene? So, for instance, last week we had somebody's question where you could just tell from what the mother-in-law was doing that, at 6 a.m. in the morning, she has electricity, she can charge her phone, she'll bring her phone to come and charge it in their room. She's always behind their room, wanting to find out what's happening, or, things like that, wanting to see what she's cooking and all. It's just like, it's a deliberate attempt to just frustrate her lady. And so how do I just stand back and watch? Do I?
No, this one you have to confront it. If you don't confront it, Mama, please, this is your phone. If you even want to charge it, come and charge it at 9 o'clock. By 6 o'clock, we are still in bed. When we want to move, then you come and knock our door. So some of these things, if you don't confront it, you may ultimately lose in the end. Okay. Yeah.
My next question is in twofold. Can I confront my in-law, or should I allow my spouse to do that? Then the next part of the question is, when is it the right time to tell my in-law enough is enough? Or to tell them, you have stayed in my house for too long, I think it's time to go back. You know,
you don't have to ever say do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let your spouse, whose parents are, let them do that, because once you do that, you have become public enemy number one, and there's no way you can heal that relationship again. So let your spouse do that, and as much as possible, be nice. However, there are some in-laws that are trouble. They'll come and stay. They know that this man and woman, they have a chamber and a hall, and they will come and stay. Chamber and a hall. Or even the last time there was one we were dealing with, one room, and the in-law has come to stay there. So if there's a move, how can they move? So this one, you see that the in-law came purposely to break the marriage. Because if you didn't come to break the marriage, why would you come and stay in a single room of your son or your daughter who is married? And so you don't confront your in-laws. It doesn't work.
Sometimes if you feel that maybe your parents have overlived your house or where you are staying, maybe they don't have a comfortable home like they have come to meet. And so you can get some money, go and rent a comfortable place, make the place very habitable for them to live, and they'll give you peace.
So at what point do I... Okay, Reverend Ajoy.
I just want to state it this way. I don't know why we who have become in-laws are doing the things that we didn't want in our marriages. I tell the young ladies, if you dislike your mother-in-law, you will grow to become a mother-in-law. The way you would treat your mother-in-law, that is the way they would treat you. And so I think that you have to respect and honor yourself even as a mother-in-law. Respect yourself. When you respect yourself, just last week I said I was going to visit. We were asked to come and visit, but I had to. My son, I could tell my son, but I told my daughter-in-law rather. I called her and told her that we were coming. We are coming this day and we are leaving this day. When it was time for us to leave, my son was saying, oh, but wait 2 more days. That is, you come on Tuesday. And I said, no. I made the lady know that we are coming on Thursday and leave on a Sunday. That is, you are showing respect and you are giving honor to yourself. You don't have to push yourself on your son and the daughter. You don't want to see them having friction in their marriage. After all, even if it is a 1-bedroom you have, enjoy that place. If you are nice to your in-laws and your son, they will take care of you. They will look after you very well. So, I mean, it's about time mothers-in-law know that it is generation. My time has passed. Let me help the next generation to stand on their feet and bring glory not to them but to God. So
it's normally the men, the father-in-laws, most of the time don't have problems.
Yes.
You know, most of the time it's the mother-in-laws who have the problems. But like Reverend Ajo is saying, well, you've been married for how many years now? 7. And I can count the number of times we visited your house.
Twice.
You know,
meanwhile, we are not invited, we don't come.
you know, and we've been there twice. So the in-laws must respect themselves and give the young couple space to develop themselves, develop their relationship. Because once you go to the house, you may see something, the way they have kept their something you don't like, you may go and say it, etc. Give them space. Your house didn't become the heaven you have now when you just got married. It took you time to do that. So give them space to also do that.
Is there a place for correcting in-laws? And how do parent in-laws correct their sons or daughters-in-law? And are sons and daughters-in-laws allowed to correct their parents-in-laws as well? So is there a place for confrontation? Maybe there's no place.
Not
if I see something.
Yes, the word is not confrontation.
Okay. Not confrontation.
Okay.
You see, if a parent-in-law treats the daughter or son-in-law as their child, then they can speak into their lives. So if they are doing something which is not right, they can advise them and say that A, B, C, D you are doing, it won't augur well with you. Yes. And because they've treated that son-in-law or daughter-in-law as a child, that person respects them. He knows that there is love, because faithful are the wounds of a friend and the kisses of an enemy. They know that what my parent-in-laws are sharing with me, they are not against me. But you don't correct your parent-in-law. You don't do it. If there is something they've done you don't like, look for somebody who is their level to talk to them. Or talk to your spouse about it. Let your spouse find a nice way to deal with it, because it will be very upset for you to go and correct your
I think the
it will be a lot of disrespect.
An in-law should be able to build a good relationship with
that's the parent-in-law or the son-in-law.
The son-in-law or the daughter-in-law should be able to build a very good relationship with the parents-in-law. If you build a very good relationship with your parents-in-law, you can be bold to say something when you see something wrong. Maybe your mother-in-law comes to visit you. Oh, Mom, your hair is very untidy. Can I take you to the salon and fix your hair? Or
so that one is not correction.
Oh, it's a way of correcting. Maybe you've seen it over and over again. She comes and the hair is shabby.
Hey. You are saying in a way you are trying to say the dream form.
The relationship is already built.
Mama wouldn't mind. I would also not mind, because I always want to see what the young ones are doing.
Yes.
Mom, let me take you to the dentist. Let them.
You are saying that underneath the teeth there's plaque.
If the relationship is good.
So, the relationship, because recently we complained of our teeth, and it was my daughter-in-law who introduced us to a colleague dentist.
No. You complained.
Yes.
But she didn't come to say,
Let me get you a dental visit.
Mama, can I take you to the dentist? That one, it may sound as if your mouth is smelling. Or your teeth are not clean.
I'm saying if the relationship is built, can't you tell your mom that, Mom, I want to be fixing your hair?
Oh, no. If you are saying that I want to be fixing your hair, yes. If you are saying that, oh, I have a dentist, anytime you want to see the dentist, I can take you to my dentist. Anytime you want to see the hairdresser, let me take you to the salon.
Okay.
But if you, because her hair is sakatu, you just say that, Mama, today let's go to the
I don't see
anything wrong.
There's a lot.
I think that like people say, when it comes to in-laws, the guiding principle is respect, tact, diplomacy. Respect, tact, diplomacy. Because even in father-son relationship, when your daddy has done something and you want to correct, the way to do it, even when you have a husband-wife relationship, the way you correct your husband, he might be wrong. But if you don't correct him properly, he gets angry. You see? So it's the same thing that your mother-in-law, your father-in-law, the way they are, to correct them is most of the time it's better to allow your spouse, who is the father or the mother, to correct. But it depends on perhaps how you build a relationship. I mean, like, let's take our case for example. My son, my daughter-in-law, Akosia, we have visited there few times, and it's courtesies. That I can't see how my wife has a problem, and Akosia will be able to come and say, "Mommy," it's not there.
Mama, let me take you to the dentist. When she hasn't said she wants to see a dentist.
But what's wrong with that?
I know. Hey.
Some in-laws may not be
Suggestion.
You see, if you are saying that, Mama, I'm going to the dentist, will you go with me? But you look at your in-law. Mama, your hair. I'm taking. When you come back, you.
I think if you build a relationship, there's nothing wrong with that.
No. I think you can't you won't correct.
It's not correct.
You will suggest that, look, Mama, I have this nice hairdresser. Can we go and fix our hair? You see, to make it look like your mother-in-law, she's been coming like a fetish meeting. So you want to.
Or maybe you can tell the spouse.
In the olden days, the fetish priestesses, they used to do rasta. So that's why
you can suggest correction of parents-in-laws to their sons or daughters-in-laws must be on the basis of a relationship.
Yes.
That makes it okay,
yes.
I think.
And then if you want to suggest, there must be a lot of tact and diplomacy in doing it. You know, there must be respect, tact and diplomacy. You know.
So my last question, and then we'll go ahead to look at some of the questions from the viewers, and then we can call it a night. So what if you are close to your parents and you marry, and you wish your spouse would be close to them as you are, but they don't seem to be forthcoming, and we get that in quite a number of questions. How do you go about it? You wish, so you are close to your parents, you probably would see them once a week or even twice a week, you talk to them often, and you wish your spouse would have that kind of relationship with them as well, but they seem to be withdrawn. How do you handle?
Relationships are built over time with visits. Now we have suggested that get to your home and stay in your home. You stay in your house. So the only relation that can be built perhaps on phone or visit. So there's a limit to which, even if you like, there's a limit to which your spouse can be filled with your in-laws, because we can't build a relationship in a vacuum. It comes with visit, it comes with call, it comes with that, and with that, with that, because they are staying in their different places, it can go. It cannot extend to. It cannot go too far. There's a limit to which it can go, depending on where they are, and how many visits and how many calls. That is this.
What we tried to do was to make sure that when our in-laws come to our home, they come to our bedroom. So just like our children come into our bedroom, our in-laws come into the bedroom, and so that there will be that fellowship and that bonding, you know. And I think it has gone a long way to help us be very close. And then Almost every Christmas, we spend it together. We try to go and eat out together, or we have a small party, just us. We do our own barbecue at home, all of us, and we all, with the in-laws and grandchildren, we eat together. It's like a religion for us. Every Christmas we do it.
Once
every
a while.
Easter, and then
Birthdays.
when one has their birthday, we try to come together, and all of us, crack jokes, sit, be in the same place, eat together, and that has made us closer.
I had my dad and my husband were so close that I was even envious of it. But I didn't have that close relationship with my parents-in-law because they were not in Ghana. And I have a sister-in-law relationship that is very, very close. But with my in-laws, me being the mother-in-law, with my in-laws, I don't have that closeness we had wished, because Charles is in Kumasi with the family, and Araba and the husband too, their house is from my house is like from here to Cape Coast. So I mean, it is not. So once I think my son-in-law comes to my house 3 times a year. When it is Christmas, probably Easter, and somebody's birthday. One of us our birthday. So, but we don't have a strained relationship. When we meet, the first thing we have to do is hug. I want to say, my son loves hugging. My son-in-law loves hugging, so I also love hugging. So, well, it's not a strained relationship. And with my daughter-in-law, it's not a strained relationship, but they are poles apart. We try to do FaceTime once a while to talk, and so I think it's doing well for us. I don't hope to be a mother-in-law, a monster.
All right. So I think we just want to look at some of the questions from our viewers, because as we are speaking, their questions keep coming in, and we'd like to look at a few. And there's this one I want to throw in there because it looked like it has some sense of urgency, and the person may be watching and needs an answer, and has some kind of relationship with in-laws as well. So this is from Linda. I will not mention where she's writing from. She said, my elder brother had sex with me when I was little. Now that I am born again, what should I do about that? It is disturbing me. It's disturbing me.
Yeah, Linda, the fact that you have written to us, it's a confession. And so you have confessed, and you are feeling bad about it. Godly sorrow works repentance. What you must do is to forgive yourself, because if you have confessed, God has forgiven you. It's in God's sea of forgetfulness. You don't go back digging for it. Forgive yourself and move on with your life. From today, let it stop disturbing you.
Amen.
All right. Okay, all right. This is from Kwesi from Afosu. She says, hello, Bishop. It's 10 months since I married my wife, and 2 months ago, her mother called my mother to ask if there's a problem with us because she hasn't heard if my wife is pregnant or not. Was it right she did that?
It wasn't right. It wasn't right. On Precious Television, on Fridays, there is this program we have called Give Me Children. And in there, we have doctors and counselors who come and they talk about the pressure parents and in-laws put on couples. And it's not necessary. It's very unnecessary. You see, there are times people make it look like childbearing is because the man is experienced or the woman is experienced, that's why they have children. But the Bible says children are a gift from God. I mean, there are people who are sleeping by the roadside. Somebody goes to rape them and they get pregnant. There was no style, there was no technique. There are some, they do one night stand and they get pregnant. And there are some, and there are times it's amazing. You will see somebody who is rich, has all the money in this world, looking for a child they are not getting. And you see Kayayo have a child and go and dump the child on the dunghill. So children are a gift from God. And so mother-in-laws and father-in-laws and parents should not put that pressure on people. So that attitude was not right.
In-laws should be patient with their in-laws because
Parent-in-laws
should be patient because it takes time. Sometimes some people get married and in a year they have their children. 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 7 years. When we listen to the people
give me
children. Some
13 years.
13 years, 7 years, 5 years. And God blesses them with children. So they should just be patient with.
And they should be praying.
They should be praying
if
for
you
them.
Want you want grandchildren, support them in prayer. Dedicate some fasting for them and sacrificing, sowing seeds on their behalf, and doing warfare on their behalf. At the appropriate time, God will make a way for them.
God will make a way.
This from Abigail. I'm the one who is requesting to talk to Mommy about my marriage. So Abigail, please, you send us your number. We'll get one of the counselors to talk to you. If Mommy has time, can make time, she would also do that. So please send us your number if you are watching. So please, my question for tonight is, my husband and sister-in-law offended me, and I'm deeply hurt by it. My sister-in-law tried to explain to me, but my husband boldly told her she doesn't owe me an explanation right in front of me. And another sister-in-law lied against me right in front of my husband, but he couldn't say anything, even though he wholeheartedly knew that his sister was lying. And his senior brother was around when the sister told that lie. And it is really making me sad. What do I do?
What I see is that this has a fundamental problem. What is coming out is the outgrowth of a deeper problem. Because, I mean, the picture you are creating is that your husband is siding with the brethren, the siblings against you. And if it's not a fundamental problem with the man, at times some of these things that people do and they don't see anything wrong may be due to how they were raised in a certain dysfunctional home where some of these things happen and they think it's normal. And so the guy may not even be known thinking that he's even doing anything wrong. So it's a fundamental problem. Definitely what the husband is doing is not right. So any way he can do to bring his attention to either himself or a pastor, somebody that he respects, then he should do it because that is not right.
Yeah, so we keep encouraging people to have somebody they respect, somebody who was part of their counseling or mentoring couples, so that there will be somebody to speak into their lives, like Reverend Ankuma said.
So if you are watching and you have questions, you can keep your questions coming in. We are dealing with the topic of in-laws, and we've been speaking extensively. Last week, we started the part 1. This is the part 2 of it. If you want last week's message, you can just go to YouTube at Bishop Charles Ajinasari, and you see a playlist there. When you just click playlist, you see Ask the Counselors, and you can watch the first part of last week's session on in-laws. But if you have questions, you can send them to us if you are watching via Facebook on the Facebook thread, or via text message to 020-343-8710, 020-343-8710. The country code is +233 or 00233 20-343-8710. So we're also going to open the phone lines at this moment and receive some calls from you on questions. If you have comments, you can please text us with those comments. But we want to open the phone lines for those who have questions in relation to the topic of in-laws. And the number to call is 020 7 10,000. That's 100001. The zeros are 4. 0207 1 with 4 zeros, quadruple zeros, and then 1. You can call us and we'll be here to listen to your question and post them to the counselors and then have them answered. This is, please, man of God, I am married with 2 children, but my husband's family want a second wife. The father is also in support of the second wife, so they pick food from the girl's house and bring it to my house and give it to my husband to eat and advise him to leave my food. They are planning for a wedding and things are changing. I am confused. What should I do?
Maybe she offended the in-laws. Because if she didn't offend the in-laws, she has children with a man. Why would they want that? Either she offended the in-laws or maybe her food is not sweet. If her food is not sweet, she should learn how to cook well. But then, I'm sure that, I don't know whether they go to church, but if they go to church, if she go, she and her husband, they go to church, she should get her pastors involved so that the man will not go and get himself entangled with the second wife.
And I'm marriage. It means it's not, because if you're wedded, you can't that's bigamy.
And it could be that they are living in the family house.
Yeah.
If they are living like we have been saying ever since, they should find a place for themselves.
But the sad part is that the second wife is planning to wed her.
That means that maybe the first one was not wedded.
Was not wedded.
Yeah. So.
All right. We have Ernest from Tema. Good evening, Ernest. You are live on Ask the Counsellors. You are first caller for this evening. Go ahead with your question. We'd love to hear it. I think we lost.
Hello, good evening.
Okay. Good evening, Ernest. Go ahead with your question.
Am I live? Hello?
Yes, you are live. Turn down the volume of your TV set. And
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Go ahead.
Go ahead with your question, Ernest.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good
My
evening.
name is Ernest. I'm calling from China.
Yes.
This program has been a blessing to myself and my wife, and I want to thank God for the life of all the panelists,
Good to
the
hear
bishop,
that.
mommy, and everyone. I just wanted to agree with mommy earlier on with regards to building a relationship with your in-law, so that it makes it possible to suggest to her areas that need attention as it relates to the mother-in-law or the parent-in-law. Because with me, I am privileged to have a wonderful relationship with my in-law. So much as I may observe or see an issue, it's easier for me to relate with them. And so because of that rapport, it makes it much easier. Just wanted to say this and say God bless you for the wonderful work.
Thank you, Ernest. Thank you, Ernest. So this is from AJ and says, good evening to you all. God bless you and the panelists. My question is, I'm married and after 2 years, the marriage faced a tremendous attack from my mother-in-law to the extent that she told her daughter that I can't give her a good future and so she should quit the marriage. She succeeded after a while and now her daughter has remarried. I want to know if I can remarry. Please, I need your counsel. Thanks.
You should go ahead and remarry, Cora. So the lady has gone to marry.
So what's your problem?
So find out what happened. Why the lady left. Maybe
so he said the in-law said he can't take care.
Maybe he has no
future.
Maybe he didn't provide for her enough, so he should do better this time.
It says, man of God, God bless you and your entire family. Please, is it good for a man to visit the mother frequently without the lady beside him?
I think that there are, but you see, we encourage couples to visit their parents or their in-laws together. But there are times your spouse wants to have family time because they come from a family too. And they should be able to do that without you being suspicious of anything. They should be able to do that, and you should be free to allow them to do it without any.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. We have Charity from Ayawaso. Good evening, Charity. She's from Ayawaso. Mpacho Busawas Asem Misano.
Mpacho de ni pepe ni di kan se. Wa wari na woni wafi fine. Who feel say who nye ni bibia. Who to me tade ko cheno. Woni ni ye die mu pese mu ye dia. But ebedu ministry awabia. Wa sisa nagi on pese obehu wenim kura. O to me didi watem. Mi ka cho se oni wenum. Nti sa wa se no wo betumi afa odobi amano. Eno na mi first question no. Then my second question is Mama Kadiji say awo nyame akyere dada but se woni ni be ma ni ti de oba ni be ma ye ni nyina mutumi ye na so still awo amba mako hospital awo amba die na wo betumi aye ni pese ni bisa esa no enye inji bi se obi akwa wade eti se mi de mi nko obi akwa wade eti se mi mbewu se ba ni sa se uye di obeye bia sa woni ba die na obetumi aye mi ji bi se nyakupon pe ena ebetumi aye but u bompa ye sa so se no ma weni nyina ba die na obetumi aye.
Okay, Charity that's it.
Okay, enti yes that TV actually say I want number one hospital one year one ma a doctor for year pense mu no one hwe na say one IVF ni sa nya mani amani na one year no so na still emba bra one da so twen no one year adoption one kope akola bi ebetena one fa na se one ma say uko say kura social welfare no one pe nkrofo one person one be encourage orphanages ebio e wo Ghana one person one be encourage instead no na one pe ni say nkola no be nya obi a one be kwa akotena no ho enti nkola ni be ho ya wo no hospital na maami na dwane ya wo no na maami na akoto na twene ye yi na social welfare for afa nti ubetumi anya akola ni bia ondi afe ana ne yi na wa adopt to be bra o twen yankopon anim no na first part no say
onene na see fine
ana na see afe na see didi na tem eno de
ebia na we bibi nti a wati didi watem wasi ontumi sorry prekupe na didi watem enti esa wo bisa okunu no say den na ontumi bisam adekunti a wasi didi watem ebia wo ye ni bibi a wontumi anka nchiro no didi watem nti hwe adekun
because at the beginning
emodu enti a wasi wontumi sorry sa didi watem
asifu ni bi betimi ayo
ebia no yen sika fi ukuru ho na ukunu ama no ana so feel say una waka chiro ukunu se mo on man sika no nti em say na abehye ne mu eya oni hye ne mu na epie ti esa ohwehwe mu
ni nyina se waka see at times it depends how you relate because another be oha so wa ma ho kwan a entumi nsi because enkodru bra argument enkodru ba bia sebe wa sebet me bie ne no aka say minimum no Nah.
I don't trust it.
Oh.
Okay, all right, okay.
Literal translation. I poo-poo your mouth. Oh, that's a serious.
It's serious. I mean, serious.
It's a very profane.
A mother-in-law you give things to, you are good to, the relationship is fine. All of a sudden, it turns so to that point. There is something wrong. Perhaps you also play the part because.
Dear, yes, Bishop said, you in law pana ubeti me a correct no. A beer one coy tactful, wo baby or cocasa. Anyhow, Basabasa beach nase because on any fine. And you okofan it to say, oh, said the way you relate with your mother is a little bit different from the way you relate with your in-law.
Okay.
Even your mother, you
give her respect.
Even your mother, there is a certain line you don't cross.
So I'm sure she has crossed a certain line that has hurt the woman. From the way my sister is talking, I'm sure she's an Ewe.
Yes.
And I don't know whether the mother-in-law too is an Ewe.
No, the mother-in-law, the tree she spoke, she should be an account.
Yes. So it is. There are certain things we tribally too we don't accept. So
okay.
She should check.
All right. We have a caller on the line. Good evening, Janet. You are live on Ask the Counsellors. Tell us where you are calling from, and then go ahead with your question.
Okay. Me free, Boteman Estate. Now, the question is, my husband, me know the time be and friend, but my husband, a very hard little bit free parents. Always they have to put pressure on him. On friendly mommy, time be the whole of this year, on friendly mommy down, friendly parents that. Me know what is really going on in his mind, and I don't understand it. So I would like to ask if there is any problem there, make me find one.
Okay, she's saying that she's very free with she has a very good relationship with her in-laws. She calls them, she finds out how they are doing, but her husband never calls her parents. Men are at times very, when it comes to that, they don't like to impose themselves on their in-laws. So there are times I wasn't calling my in-laws much. I call them once a while. I can count the number of times.
At times I had to push him to call. So, I had to push him to call because when he calls, he doesn't know what to say. How are you? That's all. So you have to do the same.
And you'll be surprised that men, even with their children, when men they normally don't visit their married children often.
Yes.
And all that. It's something that is a man's thing. Unlike mothers. Mothers will go when the children deliver, etc. As they grow, they keep going. And so it's easier to do that relationship. However, if your husband is watching, we encourage him to at least once a while on the birthdays of your parents to call them Christmas, Easter. At least give them a shout.
Okay. We have
and you can call with your husband.
Okay. We have Betha from Brekum. Good evening, Betha.
Good evening.
Please, we would love to hear your question. You are live on Ask the Counsellors. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I hope I can speak with you.
Yes, you can speak to you. Yes.
Okay. It's actually the cinema program. Me wa sister-in-law bi wo ha. Ye fa no me maame o ware me nua be ma me ma be fa ne se ne ba. Ye like yen so aye nua ma no so ye fa ne se yen sister. But it got a time or kata yen ho o ka asemsa kire ye maame na ye ne mother-in-law na on check it. Nti yen say ya dwen say yen se be ye ni ama but ewie ye na senya twa ba be wie ni so because of behavior, free no done it in Ama I didn't say that trying to say first my enemy then I am suffering.
Okay, so she in this question, she said they used to be very free with their in-law, sister-in-law, but with time she began to behave untowardly toward the mother-in-law, and so they all withdrew. So she's trying to find out what they must do now to bridge the gap.
To come close.
She wants to come close. What should they do? So
I think love covers a multitude of sins. So they are, I'm sure they are believers. So the Bible says, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. This one is not a real enemy. It's just a sister-in-law, which is not so. They should accept her, love her, and
give her another chance.
Give her another chance, yeah.
Right.
Okay. We have another caller from Takrade, all the way from Takrade. Good evening, Nancy. You are live on Ask the Counsellors. We'd love to hear your question. Go ahead with it.
Okay. Good evening once again to you all. Please, I've been dating for about some years now, and we are planning to get married. But it seems that the
we lost you there. We lost you there. Please try and call us back. Nancy. If you are not able to reach us, please send your question via message, and then we'll read it. And this from Abigail, and she says, please, thank you very much for this program, and this came in live this evening. I have a serious problem with the same issue you are discussing, which is with in-laws. My problem is that we are staying in the same house as our in-laws. My husband's family house, so in my husband's family house with the mother and sister, and I don't have a say in the marriage. Please, I need your help. If you can help me, thank you.
If the marriage will last, they need to move house. Because you can't live with your in-laws in the same house. You will have problems. If you see, except your mother-in-law is old and lost the husband, and so she needs to be taken care of. She needs company. Then probably her husband goes to bring her to live. But otherwise, it's not easy. So the man, you should play this for your husband to hear, that he should go and look for a place. You can't live with your in-laws. It will wreck your marriage.
This says, since I gave birth in March 2020, my mother-in-law only came to the hospital room for 20 minutes, and that was all. She has never visited or come to say hi to the baby at home, and my baby is now 8 months old. We stay about 20 minutes drive away from her. What do you think I do? Okay, can we add a caller to the question? Okay. So we have Fortune from the Volta region. Good evening, Fortune. We are fortunate to have reached us. Please, we would love to hear your question. Go ahead with it.
I am so grateful.
Fortune, the volume of your phone is very low. We cannot hear you. Fortune, the line is very bad. Can you send us a message instead? Can you send us a message? The line is very, very bad. We can't hear you. Thank you. Or try calling us back again. Yes. So.
Your question?
Okay, all right. So the in-law.
She did.
Yes. So the in-law came in 20 minutes. Into the delivery room, and then since then for 8 months hasn't visited them again.
I don't know what she showed when the in-law came there. Otherwise, since
I'm thinking maybe before the delivery, she had a problem with the in-law, or the in-law was not in favor of the marriage. So she just want to see the grandson or granddaughter, and that was it. So she should be able to ask the husband why the mother is not coming.
Can she also take the child to that? I don't know.
She should ask the husband.
The husband should find out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's not real.
Yes, it's not real.
It's not real at all.
It's not done, but it has been done.
Yes.
So the son should be able to.
There's a problem.
There's a problem.
Speak to the mom and find out.
This question says, please, my boyfriend, together with the mom, welcomed me in a wrong home. And lo and behold, I got to know the truth that it wasn't their home, which I can't understand. Please, what should I do?
If you are cutting and they are doing akpa on you.
Okay, so we have a caller and then we'll come back to answer this question. But they have been taken into the wrong home. So good evening. Tell us where you are calling from. You don't need to mention your name. Tell us where you are calling from and go ahead with your question.
I'm calling from here. Good evening, Reverend.
Good evening.
I'm so happy to be on your program. I'm delighted and may God bless you all for the good job you are doing. My question is, when I was about to marry, my father-in-law, in fact, he mostly stressing me when I do something small. Sometimes he say, you have followed me, you have done this, you have done this. I'll find you, and so on and so forth. So then, actually, I love the lady, so I went ahead. I did all what I could, and then we got married. But since then, I found it difficult getting close to my in-law. So sometimes it has been a big worry to me. So I want to take myself from Papa.
Okay.
God bless you.
So if we get it right, did you hear the question? So your in-laws were not in favor of the marriage, but you went ahead and you married.
It is not so. But during our preparation towards the marriage, we went home sometimes, said, oh, you have done this, you have done that. Sometimes some things that myself and even including my father, my parents, we will go there and say that we didn't do this, we didn't do that, we didn't do that. And somebody will find you as we go, thinking that he's taking some snaps, he's taking some wine, he's collecting some out the fine and this kind of thing.
So what's your question? You are finding it difficult getting closer to him. Okay, so the man wants him to get closer, but he finds it difficult. So it looks like the man was giving them a lot of problems when he was preparing to get married. But now the man wants them to get close, but he's finding it difficult because of all the roadblocks the man put in his way.
At times it becomes difficult. I faced a similar situation when I met Mama. My father-in-law he was a bit stiff. And so, after we got married, I hardly visited him. Even though I would do what I must do, but we weren't close. Later on, he tried to make us, but it wasn't coming. There's you see, you want to go where you are celebrated, not where you are tolerated. And so, in-laws must be very careful. They don't drive away their son and daughters-in-law. That's why we've been saying that the mother-in-law and the father-in-law must also take the in-law as their child, you see, and not drive them away. They should make them part of their own. And so, he has to try his best. He should do what he must do financially and, at certain seasons, what he can do. But, he who has friends must show himself friendly, All
right. So thank you so much for joining us once again. As I said last week, time only seems to fly on Wednesday from 6:30 to 8 p.m. But next week, we are done with our in-laws. Next week, if you sent us a question and you didn't hear it being asked. Next week, we'll come back to answer all the questions you have sent us on in-laws and problems with in-laws. And then the subsequent weeks, we will dedicate to answering questions you sent us previously on other topics as well. This is our month of Thanksgiving. If you are listening, you are seeing, you are hearing me, God has been good to us this year. Many people died out of COVID. In other nations, COVID is tearing the whole economy and the nation apart. God has spared us as a nation, and we have every cause to celebrate. Bishop is treating a topic on Thanksgiving, praise, and worship. So you want to join us this Sunday from 7 to 8:30 for our first service, and then from 9 to 10:30 for our second service. I'm going to hand over to Bishop to pray, and then we'll call it a night.
Precious one, it's been a pleasure coming to you tonight. We want to join our faith together. The Bible says, if any two of us agree on earth as touching anything, we shall demand, it shall be done. Heavenly Father, we pray for your people, for the viewers and the hearers, and we ask that, Lord, anybody going through an in-law challenge, you would help them, give them the wisdom to navigate this slippery slope and help them make their relationship better. And for those believing you to get married, we ask that, Lord, you give them a breakthrough. Those who need finances to have the marriage, let that also happen for them. Give your people a testimony. And Lord, even as we prepare as a nation to go for the elections, we pray your peace that passes all understanding over this nation like never before. In Jesus' name, we call it done. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Join us same time next week, Wednesday, 6:30 to 8 p.m. on Ask the Counsellors. I'm your host, Dr. Salasi Ajinasari. Have a pleasant evening and a blessed week. Bye-bye.